Why is Chrisean calling my mans right now? That's not a tweet. That's not a bar. That's a grown man, sitting in front of a camera, holding up a phone like it's evidence in a trial. Because to him, it kind of is. Jonathan Porter, the dude you'll know as Blueface, just turned a missed call into a public exhibit. And the woman calling, she's been told she doesn't exist on his line anymore. Yet there she is, from a number he doesn't recognize, with a message is now reading out loud to a chat room full of strangers. Something about this one's different. The energy shifted. And I want you to hold that word, shifted, because by the end of this breakdown, I'm gonna show you that the shift wasn't this stream. The shift happened weeks ago, in 3 or 4 places nobody was watching. And this live stream is just where the wave finally crashed on a beach with a camera on it. The story didn't start when he hit go live. It started the moment somebody decided a boner phone was worth the trip to the corner store. Real quick, before I get into the screenshots, the boner number, and the part where somebody allegedly showed up in sunglasses and a hoodie like she's in a Bourne movie, tap that subscribe button. Hit the bell. Throw the like in. You'll know how we do over here at Celeb Virex. The full unraveling is 2 minutes away and you're gonna want all of it. Cool. Let's get back in. The setup. June 20th, 2026. Blueface, out of federal custody since November 2025, currently riding out a probation tail from the 2022 Las Vegas strip club shooting case. Rolling Stone confirmed the original sentencing structure here. Goes live. He's not promoting a song. He's not in the studio. He's reading texts. Specifically, texts he says are from Chrisean Malone, better known as Chrisean Rock, the mother of his son Chrisean Jr., the woman whose face is tattooed on his and whose face also used to be his entire brand. Allegedly sent from a number he didn't have saved. Allegedly because she'd been blocked. Allegedly because, and this is his word, not mine, she's talking too reckless. And before we even hit the quotes, look at the stage he set. The man is not on tour. He's not in a studio booth. He's not even on a podcast couch with a co-host who could redirect him. He chose a static room, a single light source, a phone screen tilted toward the camera, the visual grammar of testimony. That's not accidental staging. That's the visual language of a man who has watched enough courtroom B-roll to know exactly what trustworthy looks like on camera and exactly how to fake it. Keep that in your back pocket. We're coming back to it. Watch the evidence first. We'll fight about what it means later. Pulled directly from the live stream itself, captured and recirculated across multiple aggregators within hours. Blueface, on the stream, reading the alleged text. She just texted me from a random number talking about pickup rock. Oh, I can't, bro. That clip got mirrored within the day on Hot Freestyle's Instagram repost, which is where most of the timeline is reacting from. Heavy. Blueface, same stream. As much as I would love to get you up right now and link up with you, I can't. You're going to? Nah, I can't do it. I can't go to jail for nobody. Okay, there I can't go to jail for nobody. That one specifically, that's the line doing the work. Because it's not romantic regret. That a man with a probation officer on speed dial. And listen to the grammar of that line one more time. Because there's a small thing in it that gets missed. He says I can't go to jail for nobody. Not for her. Not for this. For nobody. That's a universal disclaimer. That's a man establishing, on the record, a blanket position so that any future violation, any future story, any future allegation, has a pre-recorded denial sitting on YouTube and kick clips with timestamps on it. Defense attorneys call that papering the file. Blueface just papered his file in front of a live audience and called it a live stream. And this one, almost an aside, I blocked her. She just talking too reckless. I can't mess with a woman like that on no type of level. Reported across the Threads thread by Liv Bitez that's been collecting receipts on this exact arc for weeks. Then he goes, and I had to rewind this part. Make sure the lighting is good so they can see the message. Make sure the lighting is good. Yeah, he adjusted the lighting. For the screenshot. On purpose. So the chat could read it. Tell me that's not theater. And while we're parked on that, the lighting cue isn't just theater. It's direction. The man broke the fourth wall on his own live stream to give a stage note to himself. There's a version of this clip, And I bet money it exists in somebody's drafts folder right now, where that exact moment becomes the audio bed of a viral edit. Make sure the lighting is good, overlaid on slow-motion footage of him reading the text. That's not a slip. That's a hook he handed every clipper on Kick and TikTok for free. Pull back the lens. Because what Blueface did on that stream wasn't a one-off. It was a closing argument in a months-long back-and-forth that's been mutating in public since the second he walked out of federal custody. November 3rd, 2025. Blueface walks free. Hot 97 confirmed the release. Roughly 2 years served on a 4-year violation sentence that came down in August 2024 after Vibe documented the original 2022 strip club incident bleeding into a separate alleged bouncer assault. So when this man says I can't go to jail for nobody, he's not being dramatic. He just got home. The probation isn't theoretical. It's the floor he's walking on. And let me sharpen the geography on that for you. Because the geography is the entire ballgame. California probation supervision is jurisdictional. You don't get to just hop on a Spirit flight and land in another state because you miss somebody. There's a process, interstate compact transfers, prior written approval, travel passes that have to be requested in advance through a probation officer who has the absolute authority to deny them. So every time Blueface even thinks about Baltimore, there is a paperwork trail required between him and that trip. He doesn't get to be casual about state lines. Nobody on parole or probation does. December into early 2026. Reunion energy. Photo ops. The kid. The fans started saying it again. They are back. It's Jova. The toxic cycle is loading up for round 19. The Shade Room laid out the full relationship arc for anybody who lost the plot somewhere around 2023. And listen, that December reunion arc deserves a second pass, because the public framing of it was co-parents reconnecting for the holidays, but the receipts on that month tell a slightly different story. There were back-to-back joint Instagram lives. There was a Baby Meets Dad reintroduction clip that pulled north of 3 million views in under 48 hours. There was a Christmas tree photo op stage with the kid front and center. None of that is illegal. None of that is even unusual for them. But it is a content slate. A coordinated one. And the spacing of those posts. Celeb Virex actually mapped this on her own breakdown a few weeks back. Lines up suspiciously well with Blueface's first Kick promotional push after the Twitch ban. Like, almost too well. Then, the pivot. Spring 2026. Chrisean stops being publicly affectionate and starts being publicly furious. She goes live. She tells fans she doesn't feel safe in Los Angeles. She announces she's staying in Baltimore, where, by her own account, she'd already picked up keys to a new place. So when, weeks later, Blueface allegedly flies out there to see her, that's not a casual visit. That's a man on California probation crossing state lines into a city his PO didn't sign off on. Which is exactly what Rock threatened to report him for. Liv Bitter's archived a direct call-out. She'd hand him to the system herself if he didn't fall in line. So, actually, hold on, back up. This part is the part. Read it slow. The same woman who's now allegedly texting him from a burner saying pick up Rock is the same woman who, weeks earlier, was publicly threatening to call his probation officer. That's not a contradiction. That's the entire pattern. The texture of every Blueface and Chrisean arc since 2022 has been this exact whiplash. Public scorn, private outreach, public scorn again, private outreach again. And Hot New Hip Hop's timeline makes it look almost cyclical when you stack the dates. So the question stops being did she text him? It starts being did he know she would? And here's the addendum nobody's running with. Did he wait? Did he know she'd text? Set up the room for the night she texted, and time the lighting check accordingly? Because if you go back through the last 6 months of his Kick streaming pattern, this particular stream was on a Friday night, in his prime window, after a multi-day quiet stretch. Streamers don't go dark for 3 days and then go live on a Friday night with a phone in their hand by accident. The phone was the show. He just needed her to call. And if you accept the premise that these two have been playing this dance since 2022, the wait wasn't long. It never is. 5 frames worth slowing down on. Frame 1, the burner. You'll caught it. Random number. Not a saved contact. Not a DM. A new line. Which means somebody, allegedly Rock, per the live stream, knew the primary line was dead, sourced a separate number. and reached out anyway. That's not a drunk text. That's logistics. Burner phones aren't impulse purchases. You go get one. You activate it. You decide it's worth the move. Real talk. That detail alone is the loudest thing in the whole clip, and I haven't seen anybody sit with it. Let me push that further. There are exactly 3 ways a random number text shows up on your phone in 2026. Option A. A prepaid SIM activated in person at a corner store, usually paid in cash, which leaves you with a number that has no carrier history attached to your identity. Option B. A VoIP relay, text now, text free, Google Voice, which is basically the digital version of a burner and takes about 90 seconds to set up. Option C. Somebody else's phone entirely. A friend's line. A sibling's. A new partner's. All 3 of those options require intent. All 3 require somebody to have decided that the silence was unacceptable and that the next attempt was worth a new piece of infrastructure. Whichever route Rock allegedly took, she didn't trip into it. She walked there on purpose. Frame 2. Pick up Rock. Read the words. Pick up Rock. Not I miss you. Not let's talk. A directive. A pull-up request. Which, in context, given the Baltimore residency, the LA probation, and the threat to call his PO, is functionally asking him to violate the terms of his own freedom. Reckless? Yeah. Strategic? Maybe. Both can be true at once. And one more thing on that phrasing. Rock is the public alias. The brand. The boxer. The IG handle. Almost nobody in her inner circle calls her Rock in casual texts. The people closest to her call her Chrisean or some shortened version of her government name. So a text that opens with Pick up Rock, third person, brand name, stage name, is either written by somebody performing for an audience they expect to read it, or written by somebody who already knows the text might end up on a screen. Which one of those reads more like an accident? Neither. They both read like staging. Frame 3. The lighting cue. That's the one that gives the game away. Make sure the lighting is good so they can see the message. Y'all. His directing his own camera angle. His lighting the prop. His a man who knows the screenshot is the story, and the stream is just the delivery mechanism. Whatever this is, defense, deflection, performance, all 3, it's curated. Frame 4. And this is one I want to add to the record, because nobody's running it. The missing timestamp. In every screenshot of the alleged text that circulated since the stream, the timestamp band has been cropped out. Could be by him. Could be by the aggregators redistributing the clip. But the absence of a verifiable send time is the single biggest hole in the whole piece of evidence. Without a timestamp, you can't prove when the text actually arrived. Which means you can't disprove that it arrived hours earlier and was sat on until the stream was ready. The lighting cue isn't just about brightness. It's about staging the reveal. And staging the reveal requires having the reveal preloaded. The crop timestamp is the receipt for the staging. Frame 5. The chat. Specifically, what wasn't in it? By the time he hit the lighting cue, the kick chat was already spamming her name. Already speculating. Already screenshotting. There was no moment of wait. Who texted you? No genuine surprise from the audience. They expected this. He expected them to expect it. That mutual expectation between streamer and audience is the most underrated tell in the entire saga. The fans were ready for the reveal before the reveal happened. That doesn't happen unless the table was set the day before. And the rumor that won't stop circulating right now? The one celeb Virex even floated at the end of a segment that a woman in sunglasses and a hoodie was allegedly spotted in the same club as Blueface earlier. And the internet is insisting it's Rock in a disguise. I'll say this clean. That's unverified. The clip making the rounds is being passed around without a confirmed ID. Could be her. Could be a doppelganger. Could be a fan in a Halloween costume. We're not declaring it. But if it is her, and Blueface knows it is, then suddenly Pick Up Rock reads less like a text and more like a stage cue she gave herself. And let me put one more wrinkle in the disguise theory before we move on. If that was her in the club, the math on her own probation-adjacent legal exposure changes too. Because Rock has her own running list of incidents on the books, and Maryland to California cross-jurisdictional moves cut both ways. She allegedly threatened to call his PO. Fine. But if she's the one physically showing up in LA in a hoodie and shades while he's on a probation tail, the optics could flip on her in a heartbeat, especially if a custody filing ever surfaces. Two people, one running clock, both walking on legal eggshells, neither of them stopping. That's not romance. That's a hostage standoff dressed up as a relationship. The framing battle on this one is wild. The Shade Room's angle on the broader arc keeps scenting co-parenting. The kid, the shared parenting plan, Rock's stated commitment to make it work for Chrisean Jr.'s sake. Which is generous. Maybe too generous. Because it sands down the part where one of these parents is allegedly threatening to call the other one's probation officer. Hot new hip-hop, by contrast, treats the whole thing as a relationship timeline, almost like a Wikipedia entry of incidents. Useful, but clinical. Strips out the manipulation. Reads like a CV of chaos. And then there's the fan camp logic floating across TikTok comments right now. She's the victim. He's the manipulator. The live stream is just his way of public shaming her to look like the responsible one. I'll steelman it for a second. Is it possible Blueface is staging this whole bit to clean up his image after months of being cast as the unstable one? Yeah, absolutely. The lighting cue alone tells you he understood the optics. A man who adjusts his lamp for the screenshot is a man building a narrative. But here's where that red falls apart for me. And this is just me. Push back if you disagree. Rock has been the one publicly threatening to weaponize his probation. He didn't fabricate that. Those threads are still up. If somebody's been signaling they'd happily send the other one back to a cell, and then suddenly that same person is allegedly texting from a fresh number asking for a meetup, the burden of explanation shifts. Loud part out. Both can be using the kid in the case as leverage at the same time. Two manipulators. One child. No good guys. That's the part that hurts to type. But it's the part that's true. And I want to add one more outlet to this list, because it's the one driving the most engagement and almost nobody is naming it. The fancam economy. Not a publication. Not an aggregator. I mean the network of TikTok edit accounts and Instagram fan pages that recut, rescore, and re-release every single one of these moments within hours. Those accounts don't have an editorial position. They have an engagement position. And their engagement position rewards conflict, ambiguity, and unanswered questions. Every time one of these clips hits the fancam ecosystem, the original framing, whatever Blueface or Rock or the Shade Room intended, gets stripped, reshuffled, and reserved with the most viral 8-second window front-loaded. By the time the third remix of this stream hits your For You page, "I can't go to jail for nobody" has become a meme caption on a video of a cat. The story has already left the building. The narrative is no longer Blueface to own. It belongs to whichever editor on a phone in their bedroom cuts the cleanest 12-second version first. That matters, because it means the lighting cue, the burner, the disguise rumor, none of those land on the audience the way Blueface or Rock might have intended. They land on a generation that watches everything at 1.5x with captions on, and what survives the compression is whichever line is funniest. Right now, the line winning the meme war is "make sure the lighting is good." That sentence is going to outlive this entire news cycle. Bet. Mainstream red, toxic exes, public messy, kid in the middle, somebody's gonna catch a charge, film at 11. Flip it. What if this isn't a couple? What if this is two careers, Blueface and Rock's, both running on the same fuel, and that fuel is each other? Pull the camera back. Since 2022, every spike in either of their search volume curves has lined up almost perfectly with a public incident between them. The reality show, the pregnancy, the arrests, the custody beats, the reunions, the "she's done with him" cycles. Each one feeds the next. They are, functionally, each other's algorithm. Now factor in the Twitch ban. Blueface got permanently dropped from Twitch and migrated to Kick, which means his livestream economy is on a smaller, hungrier platform that pays harder for engagement. What drives engagement on Kick? Stream moments that go viral off platform. What's the most reliable Blueface viral moment generator in the world? You'll already know. It's 6 letters and a face tattoo. So when he goes live and reads text from Chrisean, that's not a man losing control of his story. That's a man feeding the only machine that's ever paid him consistently. The probation framing is the alibi. The screenshot is the product. And let me put numbers on that, because the numbers are the part that makes this stop being a theory and start being a business. Kick's reported creator revenue split runs significantly higher than what Twitch hands out, and the platform actively incentivizes streamers to bring viral moments back to the home base. Translate that into Blueface math. Every clip of him reading Chrisean text that lands on TikTok and pulls 1 million views is, through subscriber pull-through, channel growth, and direct off-platform sponsorship, measurably worth real money to him. The "she's been blocked" framing isn't just an emotional position. It's an SEO position. He's keeping the search term hot. And Rock, she's not innocent in this economy either. Her boxing schedule, her music drops, her livestream numbers, same pattern. The drama keeps both of their phones lit. The kid is collateral damage in a content cycle nobody on either side wants to actually break, because breaking it costs both of them money. The cleanest version of this read: they might genuinely have feelings for each other. They might also be the most efficient mutual revenue stream either of them has ever had. The toxic loop is the business model. That's why every "I'm done" lasts 3 weeks. That's why every block gets followed by a screenshot of a burner text. That's why the lighting always conveniently works. A few jabs at the obvious counterarguments you're gonna throw at me. But Blueface really is on probation. He genuinely could go back. Yeah. And that's the most marketable version of Jeopardy he could possibly have. Real stakes are great content, but Rock genuinely seems unwell on those lives. And distress sells harder than stability. Always has. Doesn't mean it's fake. Just means it's monetized. But the kid is the part I'm not joking about. That child didn't sign a release form to be inside this storyline. But maybe he really did just block her and she really did just text him. Sure, maybe. But why was the camera already rolling? Why was the lighting already cued? Why does the screenshot conveniently land midstream? I don't trust the spontaneity. I haven't trusted it since 2023. And just to head off the last counter, you're being too cynical. Sometimes people are just messy. Sure, sometimes people are messy. But messy doesn't usually come with 3 light setups, a cropped timestamp, and a chat that was already saying her name before the screenshot appeared. Messy is one tweet at 3 a.m. that you delete by 9. This wasn't 3 a.m. This was prime time. Messy doesn't film itself in HD with the brightness adjusted. Premeditated does. Watch how the next 30 days play out. The path most likely to land. Blueface keeps the receipts coming. Expect another stream within 10 days where he pulls up more texts, another phone, another lighting adjustment. He'll frame it as protecting his probation. The kick numbers will tick up. Rock will respond on her own live with her own version. Probably crying. Probably claiming the screenshots were doctored or taken out of context. Both sides walk away with a new viral cycle. No charges filed. No probation revoked. Just content. And inside that 10-day window, watch for one specific tell, a guest appearance. Either Blueface brings a new woman onto stream, or Rock brings a new man into frame on her live. That move is the most reliable signal in the entire playbook, because it forces the other one to respond, and a forced response is the highest engagement asset either of them owns. If you see a new boo cameo on either side of the aisle by day 8, that's not a coincidence. That's the next chapter. The path that flips the table. Somebody actually involves law enforcement. If Rock makes good on the threat to report him to his PO, or if Blueface decides the alleged disguise at the club is enough to file for a restraining order, this jumps from live stream theater into court docket reality. And once it's in a courtroom, the leverage flips, because court records are public, and public means the narrative isn't his to light anymore. Don't be shocked when one of them lawyers up by mid-July. And here's the legal gravity nobody is sitting with. A probation revocation hearing in California on a defendant already 2 years deep into a 4-year violation tale doesn't end in a slap. It ends in a remand, which means if Rock pulls the trigger on a PO call and the PO finds enough to file, Blueface isn't fighting from a kick studio. He's fighting from a holding facility. That's the actual exposure. That's why the "I can't go to jail for nobody" line is doing so much heavy lifting on that stream. It's not a feeling. It's a brief. He's pre-litigating his own case to the only jury he can currently impanel, his live stream audience. The aftershock 5 years out, This is the one that haunts. Chrisean Jr. is going to be old enough to Google, is going to find every stream, every receipt, every burner number screenshot. The 2030s version of this storyline isn't Blueface and Rock. It's the kid, on his own platform, asked about it for the first time in an interview. That's the cultural residue, not the breakups, the inheritance, and factor in this. By 2030, the entire archive of these live streams will be indexed, transcribed, and searchable in ways that don't exist today. Kick clips, Twitch VODs, TikTok mirrors, fan cam edits, every single one of those will be a query away. The kid won't have to dig. The algorithm will hand it to him, which means Blueface and Rock are not just performing for the audience in 2026. They are performing for an audience of 15 years from now, who didn't ask to inherit any of this. That's the part the cycle never accounts for. The cycle has a horizon. The horizon is the kid's first phone. And the loudest prediction I'll plant, whichever one of them tries to walk away first, alone, no content arc, no goodbye stream, no farewell tattoo. That's the one who actually wins. The other one will not be okay with the silence. Because the silence is the only thing in this entire saga neither of them has ever monetized. Watch for it. Whoever goes quiet first, that's the move. And one final note before the outro, because somebody in the comments is gonna ask, what would actually break this cycle? Real answer. Not a breakup. Not a court order. Not a viral apology. The thing that breaks it is one of them finding a bigger revenue stream that doesn't require the other one as a co-star. A franchise deal. A serious acting role. A tour that books out for 18 months. The drama dies the day either of them gets paid more to be somewhere the other one isn't. Until that day, the loop keeps running. That's not pessimism. That's just how content economics works when the content is the relationship. That's where I'm at on this one. You got the version your timeline isn't running. If you want the rest of these breakdowns the second they drop, subscribe, bell, the like button if it earned it, and meet me back here for the next one, because part 2 of this saga is already loading and you'll know it. Celeb Virex. Out.